You think about someone you know who's just a high-capacity, peak-performing individual. It's not about their education. It's not even about their temperament, their personality style. You know, the one thing that separates high-capacity, high-potential people is they're ruthlessly intentional, especially with how they use their time and their energy. There's very little that is wasted. Being intentional is so important. And I want to share briefly a tool with you that I discovered years ago that's made a massive difference to me personally in terms of the way I use my energy and my time, but more my energy. Energy management, that is where it's at. Not time management, energy management. So it's a tool I call the Productivity Blueprint. And this is a tool that is about being ruthlessly intentional with how you use your time. And the base of it is, the first step is just to have a to-do list, and that's a good starting point. How many of you do most days have a to-do list? Hands up if you do. Most of you do. If you don't set a to-do list, which is like base level intentionality, one will be given to you. It'll be called your inbox typically, okay? You'll just spend your day reacting to every urgent, immediate thing that's come through. So starting with a to-do list is a good start. A couple of tips on to-do lists. Write it the night before or the day before. While you've already got momentum, you're in flow state. If you start from a cold start and you go, what am I going to do today? What's on the list? It's actually hard to do that. Start the day before, and also put on your to-do list a few things that you're almost finished. Some of you even put on things that you actually have already done. And you start your day just ticking off the stuff that's on the list you actually already did. And it gives you that bit of a buzz, bit of a dopamine hit. So that can work as well. But what I want you to think about from this point forward is every item on your to-do list is one of three things. It's either a simple task, a complex task, or a routine task. And the reason this matters is these things will be different for every single one of you. So simple tasks are things that when you do them, you can do them fast. They give you energy. The more you do them, the more energized you feel. And that'll be different for every one of you based on your temperament and your personality style. The complex are the things that require attention and energy, often require willpower, often the things that require creativity. Often they're not your favorite thing to do, but they give you results, so you've got to do them. And the routine is just the back and forth, the stuff, the business as usual things that all of us have to do. Now, what I want to encourage you around being intentional is this. If you've got a block of time, it doesn't matter what the block of time is. Maybe between meetings you've got 25 minutes or an hour and a half or whatever it is, a block of time. Here's how I'd encourage you to use that block of time intentionally if you can get the most from it. Spend the first 20% of that time doing the simple tasks. Why? Because it gets you off go. Hardest thing to do is start. The law of thermodynamics that says once you're going, it's easier to speed up, but getting started is really hard. That's why we procrastinate. So don't start with the big things, start with a few simple things to give you that sense of momentum. You're off go. Then you turn your attention from the next 40% of that time block to the complex tasks. The stuff you don't want to do, stuff that requires requires attention and creativity. Then for the last 40% of the block of time, you spend the time just doing the administrative back and forth routine things. Here's why this matters. If you're not intentional about the way you use your time and your energy, here's how most of us will use a block of time when we've got one in our day. We open our laptop and you start with the routine. You just start doing emails. You do the admin stuff. And you spend sometimes half, maybe more than half of that block of time doing the routine things. Then you get to a few simple tasks. They're fun and easy. And then you've got like 6 minutes before you've got to race out the door to an open house or a meeting with a vendor. And you're like, I've only got 6 minutes. I don't have time to get to the complex task. I'll do it tomorrow, which becomes next week, which becomes next month. I mean, how many of you have got things on your to-do list that have been there for months, maybe even years? Hands up if you do. Most of you do. Most of us do. And they're the complex tasks. And so unless you're intentional, we just never get to the stuff that actually does give us an edge because they're the things that we don't enjoy doing, but they're so essential.